As I continue the design of my drill jig, the next thing I want to think about is how I'll index my part. So I know I can loosen the clamp off and manually index it, but how do I accurately index so the hole is up? Well, I'm going to use these holes to index the part because they've already been machined. These are the last holes I need to put into this particular part. So now that I realize I want to use these, I have to stop and think about how I'm going to do that. I'm actually going to go back and edit this plate because I'm going to add another plate that hangs down in front, and then I'll use a pin that goes in here to lock the indexing. So I'll select this plate, edit the part, double click on it and look at its dimensions. And again, this time I dimension from this face, and I'm going to stick with that. I'm just going to select this dimension. I'm going to change it to 1/4 inch and rebuild and say OK. That looks reasonable, and I'll stop editing that plate. So now I want to add another plate from here down over the hole that I can put the indexing pin through. So I'm going to come back up to Insert Components, select New Part, click to accept it, right click on the part. I'm going to rename the part. I'm going to call it the indexing plate. Slide this over, and I want to create that plate now. So I'll right click. I also want to tell it to save the part in an external file. I'll just select OK. I'll select this again, and I'm going to tell I want to edit the part. I'll select this face here and look normal too. Once again, I'm going to create an extrude boss using the corner rectangle. Let's come out here, and I'll create the rectangle. I'll push escape. I'm going to add a center line to this as well. I'll zoom out a bit, add my vertical center line. I'll select this edge, hold control, select the center line, still holding control, select this line, release control, and I'll add the symmetry mate. I'll use mouse gestures to activate smart dimension, and I'll dimension this 1.25 inches and rebuild it and see what that looks like. I'm just going to move this over here. What I'm trying to pay attention to is the hole, because my pin will be the same size, which is 1/2 inch, and I need to make sure it's low enough. So this is fully defined. I can accept this, but I've accidentally added a relationship somewhere I don't want. So I'm going to come up to the all-seeing eye, show the relationships. So if I zoom down, I have a coincident here I didn't mean to get. So I'll select it, and I'll just delete that coincident. So now I can drag this around. Be careful when I release it, I don't add a relationship again. I'll activate Smart Dimension, and this time I'll dimension this down 1.75, and I'll say OK. I'll rotate around a bit so I can see the direction of the extrusion. And this plate, I'll make a 1/2 inch thick. And I think that'll work, but if it doesn't, I'll alter it later. I'll say OK. So I have that. Next, I'm going to select this face. I'll look normal to it again. And this time I want to do an extrude cut. So I'll go back to the Features tab, tell it it's extrude cut, and I want to convert this edge here. Whoops, that circular edge. So I'll select it, and I'll say Convert Entities, and now I have my circle. I'll right click and exit the sketch, and I'll tell it the end condition for the extrusion is through all, and I'll say OK. I'm going to stop editing this part. I'll rebuild everything and save. And next I just want to have a look and examine things and see where I want to go next. So I'll put it back into the isometric view and fit the screen. I'll rotate around. I know there's still lots to do, but I think this will function for the indexing pin. And yes, I still have to add bolt and dowel holes for everything. We'll come back and do that later. But for now, this looks like it will be functional. We'll see as we go through the design, and we'll continue our design there next by creating the indexing pin.